Hello friends, we are going to look at Trinidad, an island in the Caribbean. In the capital city, Port of Spain, is a very large park called the Queen's Park Savannah. That's it. It's about 2.4 miles to go around it. And this is the Queen's Park Savannah. We are starting out on the western side of the savannah, heading towards the east. It's early morning, so that's why you see the sun. Birds are out. And because we are heading into the sun, you may not see as well, but there's a purpose in that. Ahead in the direction I'm going is a track. It used to be a sand track, but now it's covered up. But there is a path for those of you who would like to run. Now, a lot of people tend to go around the savannah, but they never really go inside the savannah, near the center of it. Now you'll notice I'm speeding up the video here because, just watching me walk this endless green is probably not as entertaining as it should be. But it also gives you an idea of just how far in you can go and feel like you have never reached. And that's how big the Queen's Park Savannah is. So we are near to the middle of the Queen's Park Savannah, and this is the beginning of the track. Here used to be a sand pit for the horses. There used to be a racing track here for horses would run around here. When they moved the racetrack to Santa Rosa, which is another part in the east of Trinidad, runners used to come and use the sand track. But as time goes on, that sand becomes overgrown with grass or blows away with the wind or becomes wet and washes away. And so it's no longer there. But there is this track here. So we decided to follow the track. And again, I'm speeding it up because, well, hey, me walking around the track may not be that entertaining, right? But this gives you a gist of just how big it is. Now, coming to the center of this track, it's a bit isolated. You can see that there isn't a lot of people around. Funny enough is we recently had an updated advisory from the US State Department for US citizens about not coming into the center of the savannah, especially at night, for safety reasons. If you didn't see that video, make sure to check it out. I do like to walk around the savannah every now and again, and rarely do I see people running around here. On the afternoon, you might see games within the middle of the savannah, but that's usually a lot of people. So they may be playing cricket, football, hockey, whatever, and they usually use the savannah to train, so they would use the center of it. But to say I would see an individual by themselves in the center, no. At night, it is very dark, so it's definitely not a place you would want to be on your own. There isn't really any lighting. When it used to have the racetrack, there was more lighting, but like I said, because they moved it, the lights also went away. Sadly, there have been crimes in this savannah, so it's not without warrant that there is a warning. They have one of the most famous cases was a Japanese woman who came here to celebrate carnival and ended up dead in the savannah. That case went worldwide. There have been robins, muggins, and whatnot from people who pass through the savannah late at night, which is definitely not recommended. In my other videos too, I also show where there are also street dwellers in the savannah. So it's not a place that you would want to venture in the evening. And perhaps even if it's during the day, you want to be careful, because it is a bit isolated. Now, apart from what you just saw, which is the center of the savannah, there is these other outlying areas near the middle, besides the grandstand, which everybody knows because it's always talked about with carnival and concerts and all. You could see we just passed that gated area there. They used to use that for cricket and also baseball. That's right. The US Embassy usually has games there at some point in time. Now, in the direction I am going is to a cemetery, believe it or not. And that cemetery is owned by the Fisher family. But do note the spelling. It's not like with an F, but with a P. And people don't know, but yes, there is a cemetery here. Would have thought, right? So if you came to the center of the savannah, this is partly what you would see, a cemetery. Now, a lot of people believe that the whole savannah was just given as a gift from some unknown people. Well, the people who own this small cemetery, this graveyard, look at the name there, it's the Fisher family. And check the date, 1786. They own this graveyard and all the surrounding lands. At the request of the then governor of Trinidad and Tobago on behalf of the British, they acquired the land, which is we now know as the Queen's Park Savannah, by purchase. Right, so they bought it from the Fisher family, and that was in the 18th of August, 1817, and it was for the purpose of public recreation, basically. Now the Fisher family still owns this plot, and as you can see, they maintain it well. So inside this cemetery is maintained very well as compared to, if you notice, where I had to pass through the overgrown bush. The savannah usually is well maintained, but ever since excuse me, ever since COVID, I noticed they don't cut it as often and there's always this overgrowth. Even I was passing there today and I saw people cutting it, but they only start to cut it when the grass has already grown like a foot and a half. I don't know what's going on with that. But seems like a very peaceful area, albeit very isolated. So all in here would be dark. While there are some street lamps, from the roadside or the pavement of the Queen's Park Savannah, you really can't see anything inside here. But if you're curious, during the day you can always take a look. This is on the western side of the savannah, just west of the grandstand, northwest. So a lot of people don't know that this is here, but yeah, it's part of the savannah and it is still private property. It was understood that as part of the purchase, the rest of the savannah, which would be public, was fine, but that graveyard would be kept in remembrance of the Fisher family and I guess maintained by their prosperity. Interestingly enough, I have another video coming out soon about another cemetery well known that I visited and recorded the whole of it, and it wasn't even half as well maintained as that one was. So having seen that, I'm going to try to exit here. It's a shy bush. You can see where all that stuff gets on your clothes. Very irritating. Those of you who had school days and you know, you like to play football and stuff, you should remember that. So we're leaving the center of the savannah and I'm heading back west across the savannah. You can see the Tattle building on the background there. And you can see the grass, how it is. I mean, you can see where they haven't even picked up the cut grass. So I'm not sure what's going on with the maintenance, but it just doesn't, you know, just lumps of dead grass everywhere. And funny enough, I have not seen a cricket match here for a very long time. It used to be that you would see a lot of cricket matches going on, but I haven't seen any. Maybe I don't come here enough. Some dogs there. Relaxing. I don't know if I mentioned it, but the Queen's Park Savannah is considered one of the biggest parks in the Western Hemisphere. And it's supposed to be that the Guinness Book of World Records has it as listed as the largest roundabout in the world. So that's right, the Queen's Park Savannah, when you're driving around it, only goes in one direction. The only time it will go in two directions is during carnival time, for the sake of bands that are passing. So, did you know about these places in the Queen's Park Savannah? That track, sand track, or that area to run around? This is a moringa tree, by the way. I have another video for that. You can always look for it. It's a beautiful tree. And there are a lot of squirrels. And that's the that red building in the background. That's the Queen's Royal College. So I hope you enjoyed our little trip today through the savannah. Let me know, would you go and visit that graveyard site just to check it out of curiosity? Would you run in the sand track area, the track area of the savannah, or would you stick to the outside? Let me know in the comments area, and thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so. It's free.